Anita, I just don't understand men sometimes. They always want something. Even when they appear godly, there's always an underlying motive. That's why I don't waste my time with them. Ruth, not all men are like that. There are still good men who fear God and have the right intentions. You can't generalize everyone. I just prefer to keep my distance. It's safer that way.
Good afternoon, ladies. How are you today?
You again? Oh, good afternoon, David. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well, Anita. Thank you for asking. It's always a blessing to see familiar faces.
Yes, it is. What brings you here today?
Just handling a few things in the building, but I'm glad I ran into you both. It's nice to have conversations with like-minded people.
Well, not everyone here is interested in conversations, but I'm happy to chat.
I see that. That's why I appreciate open discussions, especially with fellow believers. Actually, Anita, I was thinking, since we seem to have good conversations, would you be open to having dinner sometime? Nothing formal, just an opportunity to discuss faith, life, and everything in between.
You were considering that? Why not? David is a respectable man, and there is nothing wrong with having a decent conversation over dinner.
Exactly. It's not about anything improper, it's just about getting to know each other in a respectful and godly way.
I'd love to, David. Thank you for the invitation.
Great! I'll make the arrangements and let you know the details. Looking forward to it. I need to get back to work.
See you then. Have a nice day.
Thanks. And you too.
I can't believe this. You're actually going to dinner with him? Ruth, there's nothing wrong with getting to know someone. You keep pushing people away, but I believe in balance. David is a good man, why should I shut him out? I just never expected this from you. Maybe it's time you start questioning your approach, Ruth. Not every man is a distraction. Some are part of God's plan.
Now, the question lingers. Did David see something in Anita that Ruth refused to show? Did this dinner lead to something more, perhaps even a proposal? One thing remains clear, being too rigid can close doors that God might have opened. A warning to young women, while guarding your heart is important, shutting out every man entirely might mean missing out on a blessing. Not all men are out to deceive, some are truly sent by God. Watch for part 2 as the reality will present itself. Thank you for watching.
Anita. You actually came. This really makes my day. Please, have a seat.
Of course, David. I said I would, didn't I? And besides, I believe good conversations are always worth having.
That's true. Thank you for accepting my invitation. I've really been looking forward to this.
I could tell. So, how's everything going?
By God's grace, everything is well. But to be honest, Anita, I invited you here not just for a casual meal. I wanted to have a real conversation with you, one from the heart.
Oh. I'm listening.
Anita, from the first day I met you, I noticed something different about you. Your humility, your faith, your wisdom. All of it has left a deep impression on me. I've observed your love for God, the way you carry yourself with grace, and how you encourage others to be better. You are a kind of woman.
David, that's very kind of you to say. But I'm just trying my best to live according to God's will.
And that's exactly what draws me to you. Anita, I won't beat around the bush. I've been praying for a godly wife, and each time I pray, my heart keeps coming back to you. I see in you the qualities I desire in a life partner. I don't just admire you, I truly believe you would make a wonderful wife and mother. Anita, I am asking for the honor of walking this journey with you. Would you consider being my wife?
David. This is a big decision. I won't lie to you, I respect you. I see the sincerity in your heart, and I know you are a good and godly man. Any woman would be blessed to have you.
Then what is on your heart?
I need time. Not because I doubt your character, but because marriage is a lifetime commitment. I want to take this to God in prayer, to be sure that this is His will for me. You deserve a wife who is just as convinced about this as you are.
And I wouldn't want it any other way. I respect your decision, Anita. All I ask is that you seek God's guidance with an open heart.
That, I promise you. And no matter what, I appreciate your honesty and the way you have approached this with respect and faith.
Thank you, Anita. That alone means a lot to me. I'll be praying too. No pressure, no rush, just God's perfect timing. Have fun. You have made my day already.
Thanks, David.
Ruth. What a surprise. You don't usually drop by unannounced. Is everything all right? No, Grace, everything is not all right. I came to tell you something disturbing. Something that truly disappointed me. Oh. What happened? It's about Anita. She's changed, Grace. I can't believe she would do this. Changed? In what way? Can you imagine? David invited her to dinner, and she accepted. Just like that. The same Anita who used to believe that mingling with men was wrong. I thought we were on the same page, but it turns out she's not as faithful as she used to be. Ruth, let me ask you something. What exactly did Anita do wrong? What do you mean? She agreed to go to dinner with a man. She's breaking the very principle we upheld together. Ruth, you are taking this too far. Anita didn't commit any sin. She simply accepted an invitation to talk with someone who has shown her nothing but respect. There is nothing ungodly about that. That's not the point. She should have rejected him outright. She should have maintained the same standard we agreed on. Ruth, have you ever considered that maybe your standard is not God's standard? What are you trying to say? You have spent so much time shutting men out that you don't even recognize when a good man is standing right in front of you. David is a God-fearing man. He's not some player or deceiver, he has genuine intentions. Yet you dismiss him without even giving him a chance. I am just trying to stay pure and focused on God. And that's a good thing, Ruth. But purity doesn't mean isolating yourself from people entirely. It doesn't mean shutting every door just because a man is on the other side. If you're not careful, Ruth, you might find yourself so isolated that no one will be able to reach you, not even the one God sent for you. Let me be honest with you. Your attitude toward men is not right. You treat them all as though they are threats, even when they show you kindness and respect. That's not wisdom, Ruth, that's fear disguised as righteousness. I just don't want to make a mistake. And you won't, if you allow God to guide you instead of pushing everyone away. Look at Anita. She's being cautious, yes, but she's also being open to God's will. She didn't say yes to marriage, she only agreed to talk and pray about it. That's wisdom. I don't know, Grace. This is just hard for me to accept. I understand. But think about it, Ruth. Are you pushing away what God might be bringing to you? Are you rejecting people before you even know their hearts? Don't let fear keep you from receiving the blessing that could be standing right in front of you. Just pray about it, Ruth. Ask God to help you see things clearly. Don't let your own rigidity keep you from His plan. Am I wrong? Have I been too rigid? All this time, I believed that keeping myself pure meant shutting men out completely. I thought avoiding them was the best way to stay focused on God. But now, I'm not so sure. Anita used to believe the same thing I did, but now she's willing to talk, to pray about things. And grace. She said I might be mistaking fear for righteousness. Fear? But I'm not afraid, I'm just trying to do what's right. Aren't I? But then, why do I feel this uneasiness in my heart? Could it be that I've taken things too far? Have I mistaken isolation for holiness? David. He's not like other men. He's kind, respectful, and he honors God. And yet, I shut him out without a second thought. What if he truly meant well? What if I turned away someone God had placed in my life for a reason? Lord, I only want to please you. I only want to walk in your ways. But what if I've been walking the wrong way all along? Am I guarding my heart? Or am I just building walls that no one can climb? Oh, God. Help me see clearly. Show me if I have been wrong. I don't want to lose the blessing you have for me because of my own stubbornness.
Ruth, it's good to see you. You don't usually come to my office like this. Is everything all right?
Pastor, I don't know if everything is all right. I've been thinking a lot lately, and I feel so confused. That's why I came, to seek guidance.
I'm listening, my daughter. Speak freely.
For a long time, I've believed that as a Christian woman, I should completely separate myself from men until marriage. I've avoided conversations with them, turned down friendships, and never allowed myself to be close to any man. I saw it as a way of keeping myself pure and staying focused on God.
And now?
Now, people are saying I'm too rigid. Grace told me that I'm shutting people out, even those with good intentions. And Anita. She used to think like me, but now she's opened her heart to the possibility of marriage, even agreeing to speak with a man she once distanced herself from.
And this troubles you?
It does. Because for the first time, I'm wondering, have I been wrong? Have I misunderstood what it means to live a pure and godly life?
Ruth, I appreciate your desire to please God. It is a beautiful thing when a young woman chooses righteousness over the distractions of the world. But let me ask you this, who taught you that avoiding all men is the definition of holiness?
I don't know. I just assumed it was the best way. After all, many women have fallen into sin because they got too close to the wrong man.
That is true, but is that the whole story? Think of the women in the Bible, Rebecca, Ruth, Esther, Mary. Did God forbid them from speaking to men? Or did He guide them in wisdom to recognize the right man at the right time?
They did interact with men, but they were careful.
Exactly. You see, purity is not about avoiding every man, it is about having wisdom and discernment in dealing with them. The problem is not men themselves. The problem is the kinds of relationships we allow into our lives.
So, I haven't been wise?
No, my daughter. You have been cautious, and caution is good. But when caution turns into fear, it becomes a prison rather than a protection.
A prison?
Yes. A prison where you lock yourself away from genuine relationships, including the possibility of marriage. God created men and women to complement each other, not to live in isolation from one another.
But Pastor, How do I know who is genuine? How do I make sure I'm not falling into temptation?
By seeking God's wisdom, just as you are doing now. Not all men are out to deceive you. Some, like David, may be godly men with good intentions. Instead of shutting them out completely, pray for discernment. Ask God to show you who truly belongs in your life.
I've never really prayed about that before. I just assumed that rejecting all men was the best way to stay pure.
Purity is of the heart, Ruth. It's not just about avoiding sin, but also about embracing what is right. Godly marriage is part of His design, and He often brings the right person into our lives when we least expect it. But if you are too closed off, you might miss His blessing.
So, you're saying I should be open?
I am saying you should be wise. Be open to the leading of God. Do not rush, do not compromise, but also, do not build walls so high that no one, not even the right one, can climb them.
Thank you, Pastor. This has given me a lot to think about.
Pray about it, my daughter. Ask God to help you find a balance. Remember, faith is not just about avoiding what is wrong, it is also about embracing what is right. Good afternoon, Ruth. I came to pick up the files you were working on. The CEO needs them urgently.
Oh, David. You just missed them. Grace picked them up a few minutes ago and took them to the CEO's office.
All right, that's fine then. I'll just check with the CEO directly.
David, since you're here, I was thinking. Maybe we could talk?
Talk?
Yes. I mean, we work in the same company, and yet we barely talk. Maybe it's time we change that?
Ruth, I don't have any problem talking. It's just that every time I've tried, you've always turned me down.
I know. And I realize now that maybe I've been too harsh, too distant. I thought I was protecting myself, but I see now that I may have been pushing people away unnecessarily.
That's a big realization, Ruth. I respect that. But honestly, I was already on my way home. It's been a long day.
Oh. In that case, could you drop me off along the way? My house isn't far from your route, and I could use the company.
You want me to give you a ride?
Yes. If you don't mind, of course.
Well, this is unexpected. But sure, I don't mind. Let me grab my things, and we can head out.
Great. Thanks, David. You know, David, I've been thinking a lot about everything lately. About relationships, about my beliefs, about you.
That's good. Thinking things through is always important. Life teaches us through reflection.
Yes. And one thing I've come to realize is that maybe I was too quick to shut out the possibility of love. Maybe I should have been more open, especially with someone who truly understands what it means to live righteously.
I see. That's a big realization, Ruth. So, what does that mean for you moving forward?
It means I want to make room for love. I want to be open to someone who values purity and faithfulness. Someone like you.
Ruth, I don't know what to say to that.
You don't have to say anything complicated, David. You've always been there, always tried to talk to me, even when I ignored you. You never gave up on me. Doesn't that mean something?
Ruth, I never gave up on you because I respected you. I wanted you to see that not every man is out to mislead you. But that doesn't necessarily mean we were meant to be together.
Why not? We share the same faith, the same values. I know you're a good man, David.
And I appreciate that. But Ruth, there's something you don't know.
What is it?
I've already asked someone else to consider being my wife. Anita.
Anita?
Yes. She took time to listen, to understand, and she's praying about it. I respect her process, and I'm waiting for her response.
I didn't know that.
Ruth, if things were different, maybe we could have had a different story. But for a long time, you made it clear that you didn't want anyone close. You didn't even allow the possibility of a friendship between us. And in that time, I moved on.
So, there's no chance?
I won't lie to you, Ruth. I respect you, I admire your growth, and I appreciate this moment we're sharing. But my heart is already set on waiting for Anita's answer. It wouldn't be fair to you, or to her, if I entertained anything else.
I see.
Ruth, I hope you understand. This isn't about rejecting you. It's about honoring the decisions I've already made.
I understand, David. I guess I thought it wasn't too late.
It's never too late to grow, Ruth. And you will find the right person in God's time. Someone who will cherish you the way you deserve.
So, Anita, tell me, how do you feel about David's proposal? That man is a rare gem, and he genuinely wants a godly marriage.
Honestly, Grace, I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I've always known David as a good man, respectful and committed to his faith. But I never thought about him in that way, until now.
That's understandable. You need time to process it. Have you been praying about it?
Yes. I told him I wouldn't rush into a decision without seeking God's guidance. But I do admire him. He's not just a man of words. He lives what he believes.
Exactly. That's what makes him different. Many men claim to be godly, but David has shown it consistently. And to be honest, Anita, I think he's the kind of husband any wise woman would want.
What's going on here? You both look like you're discussing something secretive.
It's nothing secretive, Ruth. We were just talking about David.
David? What about him? He proposed to me.
He what?
So, it's true?
I mean what David told me. Ruth, calm down. No, Grace.
How can I calm down?
Anita, you accepted to go out with David, and now he's proposing to you.
Ruth, I haven't given him an answer yet. I told him I needed time to pray about it. This is unbelievable.
You of all people, Anita. You used to stand with me in keeping away from men, in staying pure until marriage, and now you're considering marrying someone Someone you what, Ruth? Someone you rejected repeatedly? Someone you looked down on for simply trying to be your friend? I didn't look down on him. I was just being careful.
Ruth, there's a difference between being careful and being completely closed off. You shut David out completely, treated him like he was doing something wrong just by talking to you. And now, because he found someone who is willing to listen, you're upset?
That's not fair, Anita. I thought we were on the same page. I thought we agreed that keeping ourselves from men was the only way to remain holy before God. Ruth, holiness isn't about cutting yourself off from people completely. It's about living in obedience to God and honoring His will, including in relationships. And you think marrying David is God's will for Anita? I think David is a good man who has always had the right intentions. And unlike you, Anita hasn't pushed away every opportunity for love. So now you're saying I'm the one who's wrong? That everything I believed in is foolish.
Ruth, no one is saying you're foolish. But maybe, just maybe, you need to reconsider your approach. Because right now, it looks like you're more upset about losing control over the situation than you are about David himself.
That's not true. Ruth, we love you. We want the best for you. But if you don't change, you might end up alone, not because God wants you to be, but because you've built walls so high that no one can climb them. So, is this it? You're both against me now?
No, Ruth. We're not against you. We just want you to see that love isn't your enemy.
I need to think. I need to go.
David. I've prayed, I've thought about it, and I have my answer.
And what is it, Anita?
Yes, David. I will marry you.
You mean it?
Yes. You're a good man, and I believe God has brought us together for a reason.
Anita, you've just made me the happiest man alive. I promise to love, honor, and cherish you always.
And I'll stand by your side, in faith and love.
Oh, Lord. How blind I've been. I thought I was protecting my purity, but in reality, I was shutting out love. I was so rigid, so afraid, that I failed to see the good man you placed in my path. Now, David is gone. And it's too late. Grace was right. Love isn't the enemy. I should have listened. But, Lord, I know you are merciful. I may have missed David, but I trust that I have not missed your perfect will for my life. Please, Father, help me to find balance, to guard my heart without hardening it. Teach me to recognize love when it comes again, and when the right man arrives, give me the wisdom to embrace him with an open heart. I surrender this to you, Lord. Guide my steps. And lead me to the husband you have chosen for me.